Welcome to Horizon Site Pro. Today we're going to cover how to create a job when your jobs are a lot of little small tasks and your employees may be running around from site to site, 2, 3, 4 times a day, different jobs. So typically when you create a project in our software, it's for a specific job. But again, if you are a service company and you're moving around to a lot of small jobs, it doesn't work that way. So what we'll do instead is the project we'll create will actually be the employee, and so we can manage their schedule, all the jobs are going around to, any documents they need for everything, and it can make your life a lot easier that way. So we'll go in, create our project. So when we select a client, because we're going with an employee, we're going to create no client. Project name will be your employee name. You can pick the color of your job, and this is just to help identify the job easier in the sidebar and other locations. And you can have tags, we'll cover that in another video what that does. Start date, because this is ongoing for your employee, we can just have the start date today and your end date. This doesn't matter, you can change this later. We're just going to set something out a couple months in the future, but you can edit it as you go. And you can just keep a job running forever. There's no expiry. Now, if you have a schedule template already created for this type of setup, you can import that here. If not, you can create it in the project after we're done. And then you have your working days. So it comes by default Monday to Friday. Now, if this particular employee works weekends but gets Monday and Tuesday off, you can do that. It's very easy to change what days they work. For now, we're going to leave it Monday to Friday. For location, typically when you're creating a project, you would set the address, but because your employee is tied to this instead and they're moving all over the location, all over your city, what we're going to do is probably just set your local city, and you can have it very general. It doesn't need to be a specific address. Now your lead project manager and lead contact. This is a little bit different for this type of setup. So what you would do is just select your employee that you're setting this up for as the contact for both. And again, we would do that in internal users. They'll have a profile created for them, and you can import their information right into there. Estimate won't be anything for this type of setup. And then selections, you probably won't use either, but a punch list you may find that you use for a setup like this. And if you have a template, you can import that here. If you don't have a template, you can create that afterwards, and we'll have other videos on punch lists and selections and how those things work. You have your notes section here, internal vendor and client. Internal users, so it's employees and yourself, can view all layers of notes. Vendors can only view vendor notes. Clients can only use or see client notes. And then if you need to add other users to this project, in this case, if your employee has a helper, you could add them to it as well. We'll create project. Now here's the project in our list. Select that. It also shows up in the sidebar here. Now this is all the information for this employee. Any notes, any files they need, their punch list, schedule, there's all this stuff. It's all for them and their schedule, what they're doing. Now in particular, the schedule, which you will use by default, we have it as a Gantt chart, and that's often how people will use a regular build schedule with a regular project. But in this case, using a calendar or list view will be more applicable to your setup. And we'll go over that in other videos, how to create schedules. But with this, you'll be able to create your schedule. There might be multiple items a day. It's very easy to set up. This will save tons of hours in your employees' time, your time. Keep everything in one place. Makes your life simple. Puts more money in your pocket. Thanks again, Horizon Site Pro.